Good morning, everybody, and thank you for coming. The first person I'd like to just kick this off with it would be our Broward County Property Appraiser, Marty Keir. Any way we can make this louder?
Everyone's going to be able to hear Marty.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, Vice Mayor Bogan. I truly appreciate you working so hard to put together this very important 17 for Change. And I just wanted to say a few words. One, to thank you and to thank all the elected officials and every governmental body that's participated in this. And the reason being is because I think all of us are inspired by the students of Stoneman Douglas. And something that they've said over and over and over again is that this is a movement, not a moment. And what this is doing and what groups like this are doing is helping ensure that this movement is very successful. And what it's doing is doing a very good service to these students and also for what they want to accomplish, and that's ensuring that our entire communities are protected and safe from gun violence. So thank you very much, Vice Mayor Bogan, and thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Thank you.
All right. Good morning. My name is Ryan Steiner. I'm an alumni of Marjory Stoneman Douglas, class of 2001. 2 weeks after the shooting, a group of alumni and students came together to discuss how to keep the momentum moving forward. We spoke to Broward County Commissioner Mark Bogan, who helped spearhead and organize this for us. On behalf of a group of students and alumni, I'd like to introduce Broward County Commissioner Mark Bogan.
Following February 14th, we've seen students travel to see their elected officials seeking change. And isn't that what elected officials are all about, to make change where necessary? We've seen marches throughout this country and world seeking change. We've seen students walk out of schools demanding change. We've heard crowds chanting. We've heard crowds saying, enough is enough, never again. But what will move this forward? What will seek change? What can be done? I'm proud to announce, on behalf of some students and alumni, an organization called 17 for Change, with the engine of this organization of the website 17forchange.com. And for the first time, there's an organization where the entire community has come together, with our student advisory committee leading the way. This organization involves students, alumni, elected officials, parents, teachers, and others. Different generations coming together for a common goal. That goal is reforming gun laws. 17forchange.com, as you see up here, has three basic functions. First, to advocate, and most importantly, advocate sensible gun law changes. Second, to educate voters on issues and educate officials, elected officials, on the sensible gun laws changes that we're seeking. And third, we have a platform where people can come, sign up, show support, and bring community together. Three basic functions to keep this movement moving forward. We want to encourage everyone to visit the site, sign up showing your support, and be a part of a movement. And with that, and before we go on to our next speaker, I would like to identify those elected officials who are here today. First of all, Congressman Lc Hastings. Our Broward County Mayor, Beam Fur. Our Broward County Commissioner, Michael Udine. Former State Senator and Mayor Skip Campbell. We have the President of the Broward League of Cities, Commissioner Dan Daly. We have Mayor Tim Lonergan from Oakland Park. Tim. Our Commissioner and former Mayor of Coconut Creek. Where's Becky Tooley? Becky, right here. And Stacy Kagan, Vice Mayor of Parkland. Stacy is, where's Stacy? Stacy, okay. Did I miss anybody? Okay, great. I would now like to introduce to you a alum named Ryan Ryder. He is he's alum of the school. He is a former Marine. Correct me if I'm wrong. Where's Ryan? Ryan, he's a former Marine. He's a former president of the Broward Young Republicans, and he has something to say. Come on up here.
Thank you, Commissioner. I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, for coming out today. I am the immediate past president of the Broward County Young Republicans, a former Marine, family member of someone who has been affected by gun violence. And I just want to say thank you for everybody here, but also thank you to the state legislature for all starting the conversation and starting to make a change. So this past legislative session, when Governor Rick Scott and the state legislature passed laws that will help start this conversation and help move the ball forward and help keep our children safe. So as an alumni of Marjory Stoneman Douglas, I just want to say go Eagles and Eagle Pride.
I'd now like to invite Congressman Lc Hastings.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you for the organizers of 17 for Change. One of the things that I'm hopeful that we'll be able to do is to make this effort be a collaborative effort that will allow that all organizations that are involved can come to terms with a unified message. On Saturday, Congressman Ted Deutsch and I were on the platform with the young people that put forward a template for all of us to follow. And I thought it was particularly important that no adults be involved in the speaking. And that's for the reason that it is the future of these youngsters that we're about. So I felt it very important that we follow their lead. And I think that's what is happening here. Vice Mayor Bogan has been the driving engine for establishing this 17 for Change, and it's particularly important, in my view, that all of us be involved. A politician was asked in one of the larger events here about assault weapons, and his response was that there are nearly 2,000 plus assault weapons that are different than the AR-15 and all of the other numbers that we come about. My response to him would be, ban them all. Do I make myself clear? It needs to be understood that nobody is about the business of trying to take anybody's gun. That myth is crazy. I, as well as most of the people in this room, support the Second Amendment and an individual's right to own a gun. But nobody can convince me that civilians need war weapons. Only the military and only police need them. So then the argument is, well, if you ban assault weapons, it will not change things. Yes, it will. No new assault weapon will kill anybody if you ban the damn things. You understand? And that's what's needed in this country, in addition to sensible gun laws. And I think that's what this time 17 for Change is about. I will support that effort and every effort that will allow for us to come to terms with a gun epidemic in our society that needs to be addressed and needs to be addressed by the body that I serve in. That we have on tap at least 26 measures addressing gun measures in this country. Paul Ryan will not put one of them on the floor of the House, and I continue to ask that he do so, and you can be assured that Ted Deutsch, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, Lois Frankel, Frederica Wilson, you can bet on the fact that all of us are going to be there for these people who need this change, and we are 17 for change. And I hope everybody goes to that website and make it be a universal undertaking. Thank you, Mark, for doing so.
Thank you, Congressman. I would now like to introduce Commissioner Michael Udine, who will be introducing someone special here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor Bogan. We always think that nothing's ever going to happen in our backyard, and obviously we know this time something did happen in our backyard. And as we move forward and the students have started a conversation and the students have started what is going to be a movement, and this should be all about the students, but in my heart, I can't let go of the 17 angels and the victims that we have. And I wanted to have somebody here today, and it is my absolute honor and privilege to introduce you to a friend of mine, somebody who I knew before, somebody whose family I knew, somebody whose my family knew their extended family, somebody who was with me prior to the event, and somebody who has a personal connection to me personally. I'd like to introduce you to Laurie Al-Hadith, who unfortunately lost her gorgeous daughter, Alyssa, soccer star at Douglas High School, sweet flower that unfortunately had tragically had her life snuffed out. Laurie, please come up and say a few words.
Thank you. My name is Laurie Al-Hadith, and my daughter was Alyssa Al-Hadith. I moved to Parkland, Florida 3.5 years ago because it was called the safest city. They were all unsafe. They had no time. They sat there waiting to get picked off one at a time. Why? Why, I cry? It was not my time. I sat there shot with one in my heart. I tried, Mom. I tried to run like you said, but he came back with the gun and he shot me 10 times on his run. It did not hurt. I was instantly dead. But I'm so sorry that I left this world to the end. I had so much time, I thought. I had so much fun. I had so much to overcome. Why, Mom? Why did the scum take my life from me in one just quick run? I wanted to be someone so great. All I wanted to do was to create. Why can't we just make sensible gun laws to protect us and make our schools safe? On Valentine's Day, my daughter, Alyssa Al-Hadith, was brutally shot down in her English class as she tried to learn. On this day, I lost my daughter, but the world lost one of the great ones. This will occur even though it seems like one big blur. We will build fire on ice, and we will get to the end of this endless tunnel of fight. And if you won't change, you better think twice. Why can't we all play nice? In my grief, I've started a nonprofit foundation called Make Schools Safe, which will focus on improving the safety of schools by researching and teaching best practices for school safety and implementing those practices in model schools that can serve as an example for schools everywhere. Please visit makeourschoolsafe.org and donate. We must demand that our schools are safe. We must act locally to make sure our administrators share our priorities and are thinking in creative ways. We have to change our thinking and rank school safety as important as the curriculum, the programs, and the test scores. Because if one child dies on the school's watch, nothing else matters. That school has failed every single student. We can't rely anymore on the odds of nothing happening in our schools and that it will happen to someone else. The odds were that Alyssa would not be killed in her high school. Alyssa used to say, "We don't need to lock the doors, Mom. Nothing ever happens in Parkland." Let's take action and make our schools safe. It won't be easy, but nothing important ever is. With passion and persistence, it can be done. Please support Make Schools Safe. In New Jersey, they created the Alyssa's Law, a bill now pending in New Jersey that would require schools to have ability to trigger silent alarms to local law enforcement. Please contact your representatives to support Alyssa's Law, and let's bring it to Florida. And let's also collaboratively work together with 17 for Change. Thank you.
I would now like to introduce two students from, the current students from Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, Zach Hipschman and Adam Buckwald. Please come on up.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Zach Hipschman.
And I'm Adam Buckwald.
And we are both juniors at Marjory Stoneman Douglas. I just want to start out by saying that Valentine's Day was supposed to be a day filled with love and happiness, and it turned into a day filled with grief and sorrow. No child should ever have to go to school in fear for their lives, as we did that day. That's not fair. We go to school to be taught, to be educated, and to finally grow up and get a job, not to be shot at. It's beyond me why a 19-year-old psychopath is able to get an AR-15, a mass-killing device that killed 17 of my classmates in mere minutes. And so with this, we created the organization Parents Promise to Kids.
Our organization is a movement where we're asking every parent, grandparent, and adult in the nation to sign our contract and promise to their children or the children of America that they will vote for ethical legislators who will only support children's safety over guns. What we mean by this is we want people to vote for politicians who are going to practice common sense gun laws and not take money from an outside source. We are giving children a voice. Any child under 18 cannot vote right now. If their parents sign this contract, they will be heard in the election. We're asking every parent, grandparent, and adult to upload their media to Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And our website is www.parentspromisetokids.org.
I just want to say, after a lot of these terrible tragedies, such as Sandy Hook, the Las Vegas shooting, and the Pulse nightclub, uproar lasts for about 2 weeks, and it sadly fizzles out. That's not us. That's not MSD. Us students are going to fight until we get change. We're going to keep the momentum going with this contract. We're going to inform the public and the parents and the grandparents and every adult on who exactly to vote for to keep us safe at school. We are not going to go to school anymore in fear for our lives. No child in the nation is going to school anymore in fear for their lives. We go to school to be educated, and that's what we're trying to emphasize. And we're giving children a voice, and we hope everyone is just in support with us.
As I said in my speech at the Parkland March for Our Lives event, the finish line for the Parkland March and the march all around the world is just our beginning line. We are committed to make change, and we will force change. We will strive every day to make this change. We want politicians to hear our voices.
This is all about being persistent. As long as we're persistent, change will come, and that's our main idea. Thank you, everyone.
I would now like to introduce two students on our Student Advisory Committee, Era and Ava Johnson. Come on up.
As the March for Our Lives has now come and passed, many students are asking themselves, well, what now? What comes next? My name is Ava Johnson, and I stand with 17 for Change, which provides an answer to these questions. The only way we'll win this fight is through educated voting and governmental action. So what can you do? Read up on current state and federal gun laws. Research sensible gun legislation that is being proposed in Congress currently. Contact your elected officials, identify those who do not support sensible gun law changes, and seek to have those elected officials replaced. Register to vote, and encourage everyone around you to do the same. Get your voice heard, and vote out those who do not represent and support your cause. 17 for Change is committed to doing just this, and we need your help to accomplish these goals. Students, if you are tired of the gun violence epidemic plaguing our country, if you are seeking effective legislative reform, if you are willing to help make a difference, visit the Get Involved tab on 17forchange.com and let us know you support our mission by registering on the website. Help us make Never Again a reality, because we are not just fighting for the children of today, but generations of the future. And constant excuses of inaction from politicians and legislators will no longer suffice. This is not a partisan issue. This is about changing the course of our country to save the lives of the people of this nation who die every day as a result of gun violence. It will not happen overnight. It will not happen tomorrow. But once you find the courage to get mobilized and organized, you will enact change. This is what we are doing today. And we will do more tomorrow. And we will do more the next day until no man, no woman, no child, no American will ever have to live in fear of gun violence again. And we at 17 for Change will stop at nothing until we achieve just that. Thank you.
My name is Ava Johnson, and I'm also part of the Student Advisory Committee here at 17 for Change. As a student activist, you hear backlash from all sides of the debate over gun control, over being a student and being involved. But I always think back to this quote by Gandhi, which inspires me every day. You may never know what results come of your actions, but if you do nothing, there will be no results. That is the philosophy the students of today are living by. We may not be able to change much as students, but if we do nothing, we will change nothing. So to the students listening in, I implore you to use your voice and speak out, make your voice heard, and ensure that this never happens again. Thank you.
What school you guys went to? Pardon me? What I did not let everybody know, our Student Advisory Committee involves student leaders from throughout the Tri-County area. These ladies are from Pembroke Pines Charter School. Thank you again for being here. I'd like to now introduce to you former state senator and mayor of the great city of Coral Springs, Skip Campbell.
First, welcome to Coral Springs. I'm sorry under these circumstances. And one of the things that enlightened me about these children, and I don't call them children, young adults, future senators, future congressmen, future mayors, is their tenacity. And what you all have to understand is that after this event happened, I looked to the legislature to do two things. One, come up with a solution to ban assault weapons, because assault weapons are the weapons of choice for most of these mass murderers. And also, I talked to our police officers, and they said the magazine sizes are unbelievable when you can shoot 40 or 50 shots before our officers can shoot one shot. So Ted Deutsch, who's a congressman, myself, Mayor Mike Ryan, who's my law partner, and a number of other people have started an organization, and we plan and intend to put a constitutional amendment in the Florida Constitution banning assault weapons and banning overcapacity magazines. We waited for the legislature to do it. They didn't do it. We asked the Constitutional Revision Commission to do it. They didn't do it. I want you folks to understand that in 2002, the citizens of the state of Florida voted for a constitutional amendment to protect pigs. To protect pigs. And I believe in 2020, we can have a constitutional amendment that protect people. And that's the purpose of this constitutional amendment. And I want to stress to all of you, this is not a Democrat-Republican issue. This is a people issue. When a gunman comes into a classroom, when a gunman comes into a church, when a gunman comes into a theater, the gunman is not asking, are you Republican or are you a Democrat? They're just shooting and killing. And we have to stand up and make sure it stops. And I'm going to ask these young people, when we get done or moving with our constitutional amendment, we're going to need probably 1.1 million signatures to get it on the ballot for 2020. And we're going to need all of you for throughout the state of Florida to help us with that movement. This is a real danger, and it's a present danger. And we have to make sure it stops. And I congratulate Mark, and I congratulate the organization, and I hope to God that the momentum stays there. I have a gut feeling it will, and I want to thank God for giving us you guys, and please, don't let up. Thank you.
I would like to now introduce State Senator Gary Farmer.
Thank you, Mark. You know, I want to echo some comments by Congressman Hastings. In the state Senate, for the last 2 years, I've personally have filed 6 gun safety bills. My colleagues have filed numerous other gun safety bills. Not one of those bills received a single hearing. Through the committee appointment process, they sent those bills first to a committee chaired by the most fervent NRA supporter in the Florida Senate. And that committee chair decided he was not going to hear any of those bills. When the tragedy in Parkland occurred, when the legislation was moving forward, we took a lot of those bills, and the language in those bills, assault weapons bans, we offered that as an amendment, voted down. We offered magazine size amendment. Why does anybody need more than 10 bullets in a magazine? Nicholas Cruz had magazines that carried 30 and 40 bullets that enabled him to fire 160 rounds in about 7 minutes. Those amendments were defeated. And so gun safety is not a partisan issue. But unfortunately, the current leadership of the Florida legislature and the United States Congress are blocking these common sense reforms that are supported by not only a vast majority of Americans and Floridians, they're supported by a majority of NRA members. But it's the gun manufacturing lobby that doles out the political dollars, that takes away the political courage from our elected officials, which is why an organization like 17 for Change and the movement created by you young people is so critically important. In today's Miami Herald, there was an article by some political pundits or political experts, so-called experts, talking about how in the past there have been events, not just gun events, but events that sparked outrage at first, and promises for change, and promises for greater voter turnout. But then by the time Election Day came, those efforts petered out. It's up to you guys. Don't let us forget, because there is going to come a time in the dog days of summer when people are going on vacation and the rallies have stopped and the conferences have stopped, where the hard work that we're talking about for change is going to have to be done. It's about registering people to vote. It's about making sure they vote. Not just you all, if you're 18 yet, your older brothers and sisters, your parents. Democracy thrives on participation. And the truth of the matter is, we haven't been so great in participation the last couple decades. This is going to be different. I know it. I feel it. It's too emotional for all of us. It's too close to home. Every city in Florida, every city in the country imagines, what if they were Parkland, Florida? The immense grief we've experienced. And so I commend you, Mark, for starting this organization. I'm proud to be a part of it. Commend you, Mayor Campbell. When I first decided to run for office, Mayor Campbell was a senator, and he was a leader in the Senate. And we had people there. We had moderates who would work together, true statesmen who would work together for the greater good. Unfortunately, partisan politics has taken statesmanship away from us. It's time to get rid of those people who don't look out for the common good and elect people who will. So thank you, kids, for your effort. Keep up the fight. Please let my office know what we can do. Mark, everyone that's here, I commend all the leaders here. It shows how important this is, that we cannot let this issue die. This is a transformative moment, and it's going to be even more transformative come November. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary. I'd love to take all the credit, but I want to make sure everybody understands this is a community effort. We have students advisory committee that have provided input on issues. We have alumni that have been involved with this, and elected officials, thank you, parents, and all other people in the community who've come together to make this day happen. I would like to now introduce another individual on our student advisory committee, Grant Golan. Come on up, Grant.
Good morning. I'm Grant Golan, and I am a student at Cooper City High School here in Broward County. I was in the car with my friends on the way home from school on Valentine's Day, just after 2:30 p.m., when I first learned of the shooting that had happened at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. For 9 hours, I was glued to the television and to social media. I saw things that I can never unsee. I came upon videos of the shooting, bullets tearing across classrooms, the screams of children being shot, the blood of those children on their classroom floors. All of this was happening in our backyard, in our community, and later that night threats were being made to schools across Broward County. It terrified me, and it terrified every student, parent, and teacher in this community. My mother's close friend, a teacher at MSD, lost 2 students in her classroom. Broward County will never be the same. The students here will never be the same. Those who endured this tragedy will never feel the same. The students here will never, ever be the same. Through it all, this community has stuck together. We've been behind MSD all the way. We are with them in this effort to make sure that this never, ever happens again. Not here in Parkland, not in Broward County, not anywhere else in our country. The launching of 17 for Change is yet another step being taken in this effort to show that we are MSD strong, we are Broward strong, and to show that no child should have to go to school frightened that they could be shot by someone who shouldn't have a gun in the first place. This is something we will have to push for as we move forward, and we will not relent. This is to show that we are with the kids. We are there for one another as we move forward here. We are here to make sure that no child has to face down the barrel of a gun in his or her classroom ever, ever again. Thank you.
Finally, I'd like to introduce Commissioner Dan Daly, who is president of the Broward League of Cities. Dan.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. You know, I stand here today not only as the president of the Broward League of Cities, as a city commissioner here in the city of Coral Springs, but as an alumni, 2008 alumni of Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. And I have to tell you, folks, never in a million years, and I think this goes for everyone up here, never in a million years did I think that stepping up to serve my hometown was going to mean that I was going to have to stand and hug loved ones and family members and friends who lost kids on February 14th. It's unimaginable. It shouldn't happen here. It shouldn't happen in this country. It shouldn't happen in this nation. It shouldn't happen in this world. What you saw happen, you know, for those that don't know, about half of the students at Stoneman Douglas High School are residents of the city of Coral Springs. I say that not for recognition of the city, but acknowledgement that this is not a Coral Springs issue. This is not a Parkland tragedy. This is not a community tragedy. Hell, I think it's a national tragedy. And what you saw on February 14th was one person at their worst. What you've seen since then is a community at its best. And I tell you what, I give credit. People say, well, I don't know, will this time be different? It already is different. It is different. You're seeing national companies change their policies. You're seeing them rail away from the NRA. You're seeing them change their sales policies on assault weapons. You're seeing the Florida legislature, although the bill wasn't perfect, although I wish it went further, probably make the most significant retreat from the NRA probably in Florida's history. I've followed the legislature for 10 years. The NRA has beaten down every reasonable gun reform year after year, so much so that they've run out of things to do. So what was accomplished just a couple weeks ago in Tallahassee is a good first step, and we've got to keep that going. I ran into a Stoneman Douglas student a few days after the tragedy, and their words were very simple. Do something. Do something. Do anything to right this wrong. And I got to tell you, as a local elected official, that's hard for me. That's hard. Local elected officials face penalties, fines, removal from office, individual causes of action for lawsuits against them individually. The city can't even help, can't even defend them. If they try to pass any reasonable gun reform on the local level. So you've seen cities, we've had enough because of the students and the tenacity, the courageous students that have stepped forward. We're going to rise up. We're going to stand behind you. We're going to get this done. We're going to take on the state. You've got cities across this county, across this state that are filing lawsuits as we speak to make sure that local leaders have the ability to protect our kids. If Tallahassee won't act, if Congress won't act, your local elected officials will. Folks, ultimately, at the end of the day, we can't let up. We can't lose the momentum. That's why you've heard about so many different organizations, 17 for Change. I'm proud to stand with everybody here. Mark, thank you for doing it. Everybody that's here in support of 17 for Change, but all of these other efforts, the constitutional amendment, the lawsuit against the state, trying to get more done in Tallahassee, trying to get more done in Congress. We're going on all cylinders, folks, because this is time it needs to stop. So those 17 individuals don't die in vain. Thank you all for being here.
I also want to thank Wendy Lipsich from Congressman Deutsch's office for being here. Thank you. I want to recognize you. I want to end by thanking everybody for coming. I want to emphasize this is a community-based organization. It's for community support. We've got everybody in the community working together to make sensible gun laws. And by working together, we can advance this organization throughout the entire country. I hope everybody will get a chance to check out our website. Come to 17forchange.com. Please check it out. Let us know your feelings. Let us know what you like and don't like. Sign up, show your support. And I thank you again for being here. Thank you, everybody. Oh. Michael Lickerman from Debbie Wasserman Schultz's office has been very helpful. I want to thank you, Michael, and Congressman Wasserman Schultz as well.